First off, not just a thanks to all the team that was up here, but thanks to all the employees and all that you represent. We appreciate that very much, and I was glad to hear. I heard that on the way in before I got here about the trade conference. A day like today actually wouldn't be bad to be in Las Vegas, right? But although we love having all 4 seasons, they only get 1 season over there. It's kind of nice to have. I'm looking forward after the election to go do a little hunting. And then in a couple months, a little snowmobiling, and then in the spring again, to get back on my motorcycle and do a little riding. But for now, it's great to be out to be here and to be visiting with all of you today. And so thanks, like I said, to all the employees and to all the guests here today. This is a pretty amazing election coming up a week from tomorrow. In fact, there probably could be a clear contrast when it comes to the race for governor. And the choice is pretty simple. It's summed up just in a few words. Do you want more jobs and higher wages? Or do you want more spending and higher taxes? That's really the contrast. And if you want one or the other, it's a pretty clear choice. Our plan is about more jobs and higher wages. And if you want more spending and more taxes, then you probably should vote for my opponent. But our plan has been clear. In fact, it goes all the way back to 8 years ago. And I got to tell you, not as a candidate, but as a parent, both my wife, Annette, and I were really worried back in 2010 because our 2 kids who were in high school back then, they're both in their 20s now, living and working here in the state of Wisconsin. But at that time, they were in high school. And I got to tell you, as a parent, we were pretty worried. We were worried that our kids weren't going to be able to find a job, let alone a career when they graduate. Sometimes I think we forget how bad it was. I mean, 8 years ago, the unemployment rate in the state was 9.3%. In the 4 years before I took over as your governor, and Jim Dole's last term, we lost more than 133,000 jobs in the state. And I know, having traveled the state at the time, it wasn't just job loss, pink slips. There was a lot of people saying we kept our jobs, and we kept them by taking a pay cut just to keep ourselves and our co-workers working. So it was fewer jobs and lower wages. And as a parent, what I was particularly worried about was so often we were hearing stories of graduates fleeing the state to find a career somewhere else. Today, 8 years later, things are completely different. We're moving forward, not backwards. Today in Wisconsin, this year, there are more people employed in the state of Wisconsin than ever before in the history of the state, ever. In fact, we've had 8 months in a row, 8 consecutive months of record low unemployment. We were going from 9.3 to 3% or below. Prior to this year, we've never been below 3%. We've had 8 months in a row of either 3% or below unemployment. And at any given time, if you look at our state website in the last few months, on any given day out there, you'll find that there are nearly 100,000 job openings. 100,000 job openings. That means technically in this state today, there are more opportunities for careers than there are unemployed people to fill them. Who would have thought that 8 years ago? I know that's a challenge actually from an employment standpoint. We got a game plan in terms of workforce out there. For us, that's when that first term was all about jobs. We didn't have them. It was helping the people who create jobs. We don't create jobs, you all do. And so helping the people who create jobs, create more jobs and higher wages. In fact, we not only have more jobs, we have wage growth that outpaces the nation as a whole. This year alone, we're outpacing nearly every other state in America. So it's more jobs and higher wages. That was our focus in the first term. Now in the second term, we're focused on educating and training the workforce because we hear demand all the time. We see help wanted signs up. We talk to employers every week, sometimes every day. We say, I got jobs. I just don't have enough people to fill them. And so our focus has been on education and training. And now in the third term, I'm going to ask you to give me the chance for the next 4 years to finish the job off, to grow the workforce. And there's a couple key ways to do that. One is to make sure that every student graduates. And that every graduate has a game plan for their career. And part of how you do that is by starting early. In state government, we now fund academic and career plans starting in 6th grade. And I want to take our successful youth apprenticeship program, which has nearly tripled in high school since I've been your governor, and now put that into 7th and 8th grade. I want to start early in 7th and 8th grade, getting our young people involved if they're interested in youth apprenticeships, in the trades, in IT, and health and other services along the way, because we know there are tremendous opportunities out there. We also know if we get our students interested early, they can see their future. Suddenly, finishing high school makes a whole lot more sense if you know where you're headed. And so we want to get those work experiences early on. So we want to connect the students by careers, by moving up into junior high, those work experiences. And we put that home, make sure that every student graduates. And then we want to plug students in their career path, whether it's through an apprenticeship, an associate degree at a technical college, an undergraduate degree at a UW system school or a private college or university, or maybe even a graduate degree after that. We have places open for every one of those viable career paths. And then we want to keep our graduates here. So we got a game plan for that. As we recruit people elsewhere, before we do that, we want to keep every one of our graduates here in the state of Wisconsin. So our proposal for this next budget is to provide for any graduate in the state of a 2-year or more. So you go to a 2-year college, you go to a 4-year college, you do more. For every graduate in the state, public or private, we'll give that graduate $5,000 in tax credits if they stay and work here for 5 years. Sounds like a pretty good way to keep our graduates here in the state of Wisconsin. Yeah. And on top of that, now we still, particularly the next few years as the economy continues to grow, we'll still need more workers. So besides our graduates, keeping as many, if not every one of them here, one of the other key things going forward is to recruit new talent into the state. So we're across the Midwest recruiting millennials from 24 different cities here in the Midwest. We're working with our alumni to bring them back home from our public and private institutions. And one thing I'm particularly proud of, particularly the number of veterans here, you'll be pleased to know this, as the rest of you will be, we're now out recruiting at 16 different military bases around the world to get active duty military personnel and their spouses who are about to retire to come and work in the state of Wisconsin. Why? Not only are there a lot of careers here, but we're the #1 state in America for veterans benefits. We're pretty proud of that. That's a pretty compelling reason to come to work here. So all these things are about continuing to move us forward, to keep Wisconsin working for generations to come. So we got a game plan to build off our success. We've turned the state around. We're heading in the right direction. We want to keep moving forward. But that's a contrast to my opponent. Again, it's not personal. Tony and I work together on issues. We get along fine personally. We just have a very different view of what we should do in government. I believe in the people. He believes in the government. And his contrast is the plan he has would actually increase spending, and that would mean higher taxes. In fact, in total, we've added up, it's more than $7 billion in new spending he's promised to groups in our state's capital. And to pay for that, you know who's going to pay for it? You guys are. The taxpayers. For years, he's advocated for higher property taxes. That would hurt senior citizens and young families just starting out on fixed incomes. He's talked about raising income taxes on manufacturers, taking away the manufacturing tax credit. That would cost us jobs. I'm proud to say that not only do we have a proud tradition of manufacturing in the state, last year alone we were the 2nd fastest growing state in America for new manufacturing jobs. We don't want to go back to the days where we're losing jobs. We want to keep going forward. He's talking about raising income taxes on farmers. On farmers. Our farmers don't need any tax increases. It's a challenging time to be a farmer. We need to be helping them, not hurting them along the way. And when it comes to the gas tax, he's talking about raising the gas tax by as much as $1 a gallon. If you're a family with 2 vehicles, that would be $1,200. Anybody got $1,200 more you'd like to give the government? I certainly don't. And for me, even if it's half that, he keeps saying, well, that's not it, but everything's on the table. That's what he said the day after the primary down in front of Camp Miranda. He said everything's on the table when it comes to taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, when someone in Madison tells you everything is on the table, but they won't tell you how much, and they won't tell you how much they're going to spend until after the election, I got news for you. Hold on to your wallets and your purses, because that's going to be a lot more in taxes. We don't need higher taxes. We need to keep moving Wisconsin forward, and that's how we grow this economy. So there could be a clear contrast. But to get that message out, I need your help. Because you might see lately, I don't watch TV. That's why I'm so happy. I don't watch TV. The only time I watch it, I was a little grumpy yesterday because I watched a little bit of the end of the Packers game between campaign stops. Although they'll come back. If they were that close against LA on the road, we're in good shape. So don't freak out. As Aaron Rodgers said years ago, RELAX. Relax. We're going to get this. We're going to be on track. But I don't watch TV other than the Packers and the Brewers a few weeks ago in the playoff run. So I don't see all these ads. People tell me about it. But there's a lot of attack ads out there. I hope you like some more ads. One of my favorites is the one with my mom. I love the ad with my mom. It's actually kind of funny at the end because They didn't expect it to be that way, but she said something quiet. They picked it up, and they liked it so much. She even looked at the camera like, "Ooh, was I supposed to say that?" We kept it in. We didn't put anything else in there. It was like, that's totally my mom. I mean, that's just like a mom move right there. We thought it was kind of cute. But we put that ad in. There's one starting today that's our wrap-up ad. That's just me talking right to you, like I'm talking right now. That's what we've done and what we hope to accomplish going forward. But there's a lot of attack ads out there. And I believe in this election, we win the election if we get the truth out. We get the facts out. Because the facts are overwhelming how much better we are now than we were 8 years ago. And we've actually got a plan to make them better going forward. And to get that message out, to cut through all those attack ads, I need your help. I need you to knock on some doors. I need you to talk to some neighbors. I need to talk to folks at work. I need you to talk to folks at church. Heck, I need you to talk to people when you're standing in line at the grocery store. Wherever it might be, to get that message out. Because you see, these attack ads, unfortunately, left unchecked, sometimes have an impact. And we saw to reinforce one of the worst attacks of all. Just last Friday, they brought in somebody, the top person that my opponent could bring in to talk about it. See, they've been attacking on health care and pre-existing conditions, outright lies. And so who did they bring in? The guy who told the biggest lie of all on this issue. They brought in President Barack Obama. And the reason I say that is I'm not saying that without qualification. You see, a few years ago, not me, not any political party, but a national group that's in the media called PolitiFact. Not the local one, the nationwide one. Every year PolitiFact does something kind of interesting. They have a lie of the year. For the entire year, what is the biggest, boldest, outright lie? And years ago, you might remember, Barack Obama got the lie of the year. And you know what it was? If you like your health care plan, you can keep it. That was the lie of the year when they were selling Obamacare. If you like your health care plan, you can keep it. That was the lie of the year. So I guess if you're going to lie about me on pre-existing conditions, you're going to lie, you might as well bring in the best, the biggest liar of all, right? Well, that's what they brought in. So let me set the record straight. In Wisconsin right now, everyone living with a pre-existing condition is covered. And as long as I'm your governor, everyone living with a pre-existing condition will be covered, period. That's it. Now, that's not only good public policy, that's personal to me. You see, my wife, Tonette, is a type 1 diabetic. My mother is a survivor of breast cancer, 2 years ago, almost to the day. My little brother, who's neither little, he's taller and bigger than I am, but he's younger. My brother David has a heart condition. When I talk about covering people with pre-existing conditions, it's not just some faceless name out there. It's my 3 people in my family, like it probably is for a lot of you here. It's either in your family or people you know, or people you live down the block with. They're real people with real families. We will always cover people with pre-existing conditions. But let me be clear, we can protect people with pre-existing conditions without protecting the failure that is Obamacare. So I travel around this state, and I love to travel. My opponent knocks me for that. I don't think you want a governor stuck like a bureaucrat down in Madison. You actually want someone who's out of their chair and flies around the state to hear what you're up to. That actually comes and checks in. I was here a few weeks back in the midst of the floods, and was just over the Armory, not too far down the way, thanking all the members of the state, or excuse me, of the National Guard, State Patrol were there too, National Guard, and even some local scouts have helped them along the way put up some sandbags to make sure the road didn't get flooded over and protect homes and property. I get out from one end of the state to the other. And one of the things I heard earlier this year was from farmers and small business owners and others who don't get their health insurance at work, don't get it from a big group plan, who have to buy it on their own, and they were telling me that under Obamacare, their premiums were going sky high. In fact, we looked at it statewide under Obamacare, premiums on the individual market were going up 44%. 44%. So what did we do? We got tired of waiting for Washington to fix it. You know, the House passed it, but the Senate couldn't get it done. And so while Obamacare premiums were up, what we said was we got to do something about this. We created a health care stability plan that not only did Republican lawmakers vote for, we got Democrats to vote for it. We got members of both political parties to vote for our plan. I signed it into law. The Trump administration gave us a waiver to do it. And just about a week ago, news came out, exactly as I predicted. It said that premiums starting in January will go down by more than 4% from where they're at this year.
They'll go down 10% from where they would have been had we done nothing, and that's a savings of about $1,000 in premium. How about that for real leadership? Now my opponent's plan is a completely different direction. He wants to do what Minnesota did years ago. Yesterday I was in Hudson, and everybody there knew exactly what I was talking about because they get all their news out of the Twin Cities. I said, when Minnesota did that years ago, you know what happened? Premiums went up. In fact, 2 years ago, October of 2016, so almost to the day 2 years ago, the governor of Minnesota, Mark Dayton, a Democrat, he's not a Republican talking, the Democrat governor of Minnesota said 2 years ago, almost to the day, the Affordable Care Act is no longer affordable. That's because under Obamacare, premiums in his state were going up anywhere from 50 to 67%. You just can't have that. And so I don't want my opponent to do to Wisconsin what they did to Minnesota. Our plan instead lowers premiums, increases choices, particularly in rural counties, and overall improves health care. That's just one more good example that's completely different. So for those of you my age or older, you know the reference I make when Paul Harvey says that's the rest of the story. You know, Tony Evers ran two attack ads against me on health care. Both of them, PolitiFact said were false. Because he made the opposite point. Minnesota only saw their premiums go down this year because they enacted a plan almost identical to the one I just signed that starts in January. Expanding, as he wants to do, would actually go the opposite direction and raise premiums. So anyway, I need your help to get this message out. In fact, if you're looking at this and say, well, that's great, but I want to tell my friends, my family, my neighbors, others, real simple. If you go on the internet, go to scottwalker.com. Right at the very top, there's all different choices. One says, get the facts. So scottwalker.com, get the facts. It's a little thing you click on. It's real simple. It's not glossy. It's not, it doesn't even have pictures on it. It's just a sheet of paper, front and back. You can click on it, you can print it out, give it to your neighbors. It's just in black and white. There's no pictures, there's no color, there's nothing else. It's about pre-existing conditions, it's about education, it's about taxes, and it's about infrastructure, and it's about, you've got one right back there. So there's some here printed out too, you can take that as well. It's just a simple thing that you can look at, and then you can give the people you know. Because my last thing I want to do is ask for your help. I'm asking for your vote first and foremost, but I actually like to ask for your vote 10 times. I want you to vote for me 10 times. Not the way they do in Chicago. I want you to vote for me once, legally, whether you vote now or vote on election day. And then, if you like what you hear, and if you want to keep moving forward, you don't want to go backwards, I'd ask you to find 9 more people to do the same and get them to the polls. Because you see, that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. That's the way you counter all the attack ads and the nonsense and the people coming in from outside the state of Wisconsin. They're coming in from all over. And the only way we win this election is if we get the facts out. The facts are on our side. If people only hear the attacks, then I'm probably not going to win. But if they get the facts out, if they see the facts, if they hear the facts, if they hear them from you, that will make all the difference in the world. And I'll tell you why, not just the what. The bottom line for me, the why for this is the same reason I ran in the first place. For my boys, Matt and Alex, I wanted them to grow up and live in a state that was far greater than the one that I saw at that time. And so today, we have turned the state around. We want to keep it going forward. I want to make sure not just for my boys, but for my nieces, Isabel and Evel, for all the rest of the family, and for all the other sons and daughters, nieces and nephews, grandsons and granddaughters, and those yet to be born. I want to make sure we can tell them that we did everything in our power, not just to win this election, but more importantly thereafter, to make sure that they and future generations inherit a state and a country that is far, far greater than the one given to us by our parents and our grandparents. With your help, we can do exactly that. Thanks so much for coming out today.